Hi, hello, I'm Mark Taliano. I'm author of Voices from Syria. I am a research associate with Global Research. And I'm conducting an interview now with you, and we're discussing this corona crisis. The corona crisis, corona is real, but the shock is fabricated, okay? According to the UK government itself, and I'm quoting here, it is no longer considered to be a high consequence infectious disease in the UK. Okay? Now, throughout the course of this interview, I'm going to be referring to some experts. I'm not a medical doctor, but I will be referring to some experts. These are Dr. Bukacek, Dr. Stefano Montanari, Dr. John P. Ioannidis, Rosemary Frey, Dr. J. Bhattacharya. These people are experts. And what the experts are telling us is that the evidence is unreliable. How is the evidence unreliable? Dr. Bukacek, for example, signs death certificates. Now, in this crisis environment, the distinction between a person dying of or by corona and with corona, that distinction is not being made. So a person may die of old age, for example, but if corona is suspected, then the cause of death is stated as corona, so that is an inaccuracy. Corona may be present, but it isn't necessarily the direct cause of death. The direct cause of death may be old age or any number of issues. Dr. Ioannidis makes this very clear in his presentation on a video that I have on my website and on an article, various articles and so forth. So what is happening here is we have a virus, and the World Health Organization declared on January 30th, 2020, the public health emergency of international concern based upon 150 cases outside of China. So they created an emergency situation. So this crisis, the reaction to corona, has gone transnational. Now, who funds the World Health Organization? I will read it here. Who funders? Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Okay, they are tied to the pharmaceutical industry. Big Pharma, including GlaxoSmithKline, Merck, Sanofi Pasteur. The EU, universities, banks, private foundations with links to Big Pharma. These are funders to the World Health Organization. George Soros Open Society Institute is a funder to the World Health Organization. The Director General of the World Health Organization is not a medical doctor. Bill Gates is not a medical doctor. George Soros is not a medical doctor. Okay? So the people making these decisions, the people that the group, the institution that created this crisis is within this group. There are many, many conflicts of interest. It is not a neutral group, and that's the problem. That is part of the problem. That triggered this global medical lockdown, if you will, and now experts are saying that it's very counterproductive. The lockdown itself, the lockdown is shutting down businesses. It is destroying economies globally. Many, many people will no doubt die because of this. They will lose their businesses. They will lose their livelihoods. Okay? The poor and vulnerable people especially. These are some of the consequences that are not being reported in the mainstream media. The media instead has chosen to create fear in the population to justify the fabricated shock. Naomi Klein has written extensively about the shock doctrine. The best way for governments, despotic governments, tyrannical governments to roll out public bailouts for a failed neoliberal market regime. The best way for them to roll out police state legislation is to create unreasonable fear. And that's what we have. We have a state of unreasonable fear. It has created a crisis. The crisis has created shortages. People hoarded. Okay? The crisis has created hospitals where there basically are breeding grounds for a virus now. The crisis has created a fiasco of evidence. The evidence that is guiding the entire crisis is unreliable. Let's look at some more questions here. The death toll rate, as I said, the death toll rate, according to the UK government itself, has been downgraded. It has low mortality, this infection. We talked about the WHO, we talked about the fear mongering, we talked about the shock doctrine. What should we do as people to regain control over our lives? I think the best thing would be for us to rely on experts, such as the people that I mentioned. We should rely on their expertise. We should understand that the statistics are lying to us. We should understand that there's an agenda beneath this smokescreen. And let me give you one concrete example. In Syria right now, the UK government is pledging money, about an additional 100 million, under the pretext of Corona, to help the people. But of course, it's going directly to Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda is the dominant force in Idlib, okay? So imperialists use humanitarian lies. They say it's humanitarian warfare. The opposite, of course, is that they're supporting terrorists and that there's no such thing as humanitarian warfare in Syria, for example. It's a war of aggression. These are war crimes. So they're using the coronavirus as a fake pretext to justify further support for terrorism and for the destruction of Syria. If the imperialists wanted to help Syria and Syrians, they would lift the criminal economic embargo. That's what they should be doing. They should not be supporting the terrorists as they have been doing throughout the course of this regime change war. What are the other hidden agendas? I don't know what they all are yet. Over time we'll find out. But currently I would have to say it looks like an economic coup. Thank you.